coachingsales.com. And today we are blessed to have Dr. Donna joining us, Dr. Donna Hamilton. She is the Chief Wellness Officer for ManifestExcellence.com. She is an MD. You also have to tell me what the MS and the FAAP stand for there as well, Dr. Donna. But she is the author of 3 best-selling books, Wellness Your Way, Voices of Inspiration, and the Wisdom of Midlife Women. And today we're going to be talking about the habits of successful entrepreneurs, the top 7 successful health habits for healthy, whatever. It's healthy and successful entrepreneurs. That's what we all want, right? We want it. What is the point of having money if we don't have health to enjoy it with? So, Dr. Donna, I want to start just with the MS and the FAAP. Tell me all of those initials behind your name.
Yeah. Well, you know, in medicine, we have kind of like alphabet all over our names, right? You know,
right.
it's a medical conference and there's like this many letters after someone's name. So the MS is Masters of Science, and the FAAP is Fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics, because my medical specialty is actually pediatrics.
Perfect. I love it. Well, thank you so much for that. And I want to just jump right in and get to nitty gritty, because I was admitting to you earlier that health is not always a high priority. So my husband and I are running our $1 million company. We have 4 kids. We have a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and then a 14-year-old. And between the running them to and from school and having our business that calls for us, I'm afraid that usually for us, health is sometimes our very last priority. So, I mean, I'll get on my trampoline in the morning for 5 minutes, or I'll do my rowing machine. And but there are days, like I said, when I'm like finishing the kids' leftover cereal for breakfast as we head out the door, and eating macaroni and cheese with hot dogs in the evening because that's what they want to eat. So tell me, I guess maybe remind me, why is health such a priority? Why does it need to be a priority for people who are high achievers and really want to succeed at a big level?
Yeah, great question. First of all, you are not alone, so don't think that you are, and don't feel guilty, because sometimes you know you're not alone, but that doesn't stop you from feeling guilty. We've all been there.
Right.
We are there. You know, I'll admit it too. Sometimes I just get busy and I just don't feel like eating a balanced meal or or meditating, or just kind of the list goes on. So that's one of the reasons I'm so excited to talk about this, and we're going to share. So I'm letting everyone, Kim who's on now, thanks for joining us, Kim, and all the replay viewers, pace yourself. Let's just take a deep breath right now. It's going to be gentle, right? Seriously, because one of the reasons I love to do this is because this idea of health makes everyone just kind of go crazy or feel guilty, or they become kind of immobilized. And it's not that. One of the things I specialize in is helping it becomes simple. So we're going to do that today. We're going to talk about some key habits, especially for entrepreneurs. And then you already put the guide in there. I created a guide for you so that you can go to it later and bring in some more habits that are going to help you apply what we learned today. So that sound good to everyone? Okay.
I love it. That sounds great. I want to check it out while we're doing it, but I'll share the link with everyone later. I love it. So we're not alone, which admittedly is great. But remind me, okay, so just give me a big picture. Why is this so important?
It's so important because health is about our vitality. So that's the first thing, remembering what health really is. But, you know, you can't give from an empty cup. So that's why it's important for everyone, especially entrepreneurs, right? Many of us, right. Even if we are, you know, we're solopreneurs or micropreneurs starting out, like we are everything, so you can't do it. But even when you grow a bigger business and you have a team, you are still the person who everyone looks to for leadership. So even if you get a more advanced in your business, and if people become pretty self-sufficient, they're still looking to you for the drumbeat. They really are. And so you cannot do that if you are not healthy, because you can't give what you can't give from an empty cup.
Right. Absolutely. I love it. And then the implications, because I will say something that I found in my own life. So when I was going through college and I had like 18 units and a full-time job and a boyfriend, everything I was trying to balance, what I realized is that when you're pushing yourself in one area of your life, you really need to make sure you're not neglecting your physicality. So making sure that I was still going to the gym, that I was still running, that I was still involved in a sport. I found that that physical activity helps my mental acuity. And so I would say, if you are a high achiever and you're really trying to push yourself in one area of your life, like building a business, that you need to remind yourself that you're a body, soul, integrated being. And if you're not taking care of your body, your mind's just not going to be able to play at the level that you want to play out. So you mentioned that health is vitality. And I think that's really, I wanted to kind of play that out a little bit, because I think we sometimes assume that health is, I'm not sick, right? But tell me a little bit about how you describe health in a more multifaceted approach. It sounds like you've given some thought to that, and I want to kind of pick your brain there.
Absolutely. Well, it's a good thing, right? Because I'm a medical doctor, been in the field. I started medical school almost 30 years ago, right? So I've definitely had a lot of time to think about what it really means to be healthy. And the word literally means whole, WHOLE. So when we really talking about being healthy way back, I guess when the English language was created, we understood it meant this concept of functioning at your best in every aspect of your life. It's not just about your body. It's not just about being not sick. So being healthy literally is functioning at your best physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually, right? So mind, body, spirit, and in life. That's what being healthy truly is. And as you mentioned, especially if you are going through a phase of part of your life where you have a lot of physical demands, so you do need to focus on the physicality of it, your body and how it's performing. All the different aspects of health, they interconnect and they relate and they affect each other. So your body affects your mind affects your body, and your social. So we understand what physical health is, right? It's your body, what you put in it. Your mind is actually, we divide that into two arenas. So the mental arena, so that's the area of your thoughts. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because mindset is really hot within the entrepreneurial world and the business world right now. So mind or mental arena is about your thoughts and your beliefs, what you talk to yourself, like your inner voice. Your emotional arena are your feelings, and that all these affect your body. But the big one that a lot of people overlook is that social arena, and that is life. That's what gives your life flavor. So those are your relationships, what you were describing, relationships. It's work, or whether you're in school. They're your habits, your hobbies, where you live, your neighborhood, your environment. That's a huge piece that affects not only your well-being, but it also affects your mind and it affects your body. And the last component is the spiritual arena, which is not necessarily religion, though it fits in there, but it's around your belief system and how you make sense of things, your drive, your mission, your vision, your purpose. And all of that affects your health, but they interrelate. So they affect your body, they affect your mind, they all affect each other.
Absolutely. And I love that whole person approach. As you're looking at somebody and speaking to them, this whole person approach, how do you think it relates specifically to entrepreneurs, people in the business environment? What sort of issues do you tend to find that people are experiencing or frustrating with as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, the whole person approach is important for everyone, but especially, like you said, for entrepreneurs. One of the main reasons, like we said in the beginning, you can't give from an empty cup. And when you're creating your business, especially if you're early on in your business, well, I take that back. It's not especially if you're early on. We are the face of our business, right? No matter where you're starting up or you've been established and you're multi-seven figures and everyone knows and loves you. Even when you're a big corporation, I like to share the story. When Steve Jobs was sick, but before everyone knew what was going on, so every now and then he would appear in public at like a big Apple event, and people would say something's wrong with him, but no one knew. Apple stock dropped because he didn't look well, and people were wondering something's going on. So especially when you're an entrepreneur, you are the leader of your company, and so your clients and your even the world, the prospects, people interface with you. They see you kind of as the health of the company. So that's why this whole approach. So it's not just the physicality, but even if you're looking well and you're physically fit, but you're scattered and you're in meetings, and it happens. I mean, like excessively, you can't focus, or your business is disorganized and you're missing things, or your mood is down, or you're angry and frustrated all the time. That becomes an informal part of your brand, and we don't want that. So that's why looking at all your health and well-being is important to you, because you are your company, you are your brand. All the wonderful money we spend on our branding and our colors and our tagline, your brand is what people say about you and how they describe you, and you say describe you well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that nails it. I mean, the point about Steve Jobs, I mean, you kind of underestimate that. And I mean, we don't have stockholders that are worried about us, but if you have prospects, especially if you meet with them over the phone, over the phone, not as much, but if you're doing a conference call or you're going to meet them in person and do coffee, I'll be honest, I do judge people by how they look. Like, man, it looks like you haven't slept in weeks. Or I would assume, especially sometimes we get some health coaches, right? I mean, you are the walking representation of your success story. So if I'm looking at health coaches overweight, I'm probably not going to hire them, right? So it's just interesting to kind of keep that in the back of your mind. And what does my physical image and my whole body health, what is that radiating to somebody on kind of an almost subliminal level? For sure. I love that. Yeah, so give me some examples. Yeah, go ahead.
Some example. We're right there because I was getting ready to give some examples. Right. So even if you're thinking, well, I'm good because my business doesn't deal with anything around physicality. Remember Steve Jobs and Apple. I mean, it's a tech company, but more practical. Say you are your business is around helping companies create corporate culture, right? And your business, when they call, they can tell that you have some infighting within your own. They come to your company and they see that, I'm making it up. Someone's kind of slamming the coffee. Yeah. You walk away.
I liked your example of being scattered, right? I will admit I only had 5 hours of sleep because the baby was sick last night. So there's a certain amount of I just need to get over that and do it. That needs to happen. But yeah, I can already feel mentally that it's harder for me to think logically and process and lead with the kind of authority that I need to lead when I haven't taken care of my physical health. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And at the same time, remember we're human too, because life happens. That's part of the overall whole person approach. So when we have, we work with that inner dialogue and deal with our inner perfectionists, because a lot of us are super achievers as entrepreneurs. So when we have a healthier mental landscape and we give ourselves permission to say, you know what? Like life happens and I didn't get enough sleep, so I'm not on my A game, and we feel confident enough. So that's part of that mental and getting to that emotional piece, where we can say, you know what? And you can describe yourself. Or if you're having a meeting, you say, you know what? Last night I was up with my sick daughter. Just excuse me in advance if I have a slip of the tongue, or whatever it is, and you connect on that human level. Kind of seeing yourself as a whole person, and then we give ourselves less than perfect, because no one's really perfect, but we want to try to be.
And I will say, just woman to woman, I have found that it's easier for me to have those conversations with other women because we are typically conscious of all the other elements that are going on in people's lives. And so it's usually easier, usually with a guy, when I'm talking to a male prospect or a male client, I kind of feel that I need to just buck up and do it as opposed to kind of laugh about it. But I have found I will save that card. I used to start with that card at the beginning of the conversation. Now I save it until I inevitably slip up, and then I put it down just for credibility's sake. But I'm really curious, what can I be doing? How can I be implementing? You mentioned some practical strategies. I would love to know, what can I be doing even today that can really help me to get to that level of, how do you describe it? Just functioning at my best in every area of my life.
Absolutely. Okay, so everyone get ready. Just kind of take it in, or grab a pen and jot down some notes. All right. So what we're going to share you some practical tips for the because one of the I would say the health secrets to creating change is to connect what your new habit is to what you're already doing. So since we're talking about I'm going to give you some habits that are related to either what you're already doing or what you're already thinking about. And that's why, so the health guide that we're sending you to, manifestexcellence.com/health guide, they will have some more of the very specific suggestions to help you sort through the wheat and chaff of all the research. Because every time you turn on the news, there's eat this, don't eat that, do this, don't do that. And so what I've done, I've put together those top 7 strategies and tips that you can do if you want to live longer and be healthy while doing it. Like, did you just see, like, recently they posted that that the lifespan increased to 90, especially for women. So we want to make sure we're living till 90, but also active. I've given you kind of like the basic tips to do. So that's in this health guide, and that's going to be your tool to apply what we're getting ready to talk about. So remember, we're separating into 2 manageable ways of thinking. So one of the first tips I want to give you here for entrepreneurs is have a why. Now, we do that for our business, right? But a lot of people don't think about what's their why for becoming healthier. Now, another way of thinking about your why from a health perspective is your inner motivation, your intrinsic motivation. That's really, really important, because we can have these external goals. Well, we can have no goal at all. And then we just keep telling ourselves, well, I need to exercise, or I need to meditate. And if that was going to work, it would have worked the first 500 times, right? So we need to have our why, or our intrinsic motivation, just like we do for our business. We need to have that for our health, because that's what's going to get you up and get you out to do whatever it is you want to do, or stop doing whatever it is you don't want to do. So you want to stop smoking, or you want to stop eating junk food, or you want to start doing yoga, or whatever it is. When you have a why, just like for your business, when you have a why for your health, it's so much easier to make those choices and start doing those new behaviors. So that's the first.
And I would say probably the bigger the shift, the bigger the why. So depending, if you only need to lose 2 pounds, it's different than if you need to lose 20 pounds or whatever that is. So a deeper why for the bigger goals.
Exactly. And then the next tip, the next habit. So that's a habit, right? Because I go back and forth between calling them tips, but really they become ways of being. And when they become ways of being, that's another longer, fancy way of saying it's a habit. So always know what your why.
Yeah.
It might change. It might change, like you were saying, depending on the goal or what's going on in your life. So develop the habit of knowing what your why is for whatever your new health goal is, or whatever it is you want to do. Next, pay attention to your mindset. I talked about that. Pay attention to your mindset about your health, not just about your business. This idea of mindset, how we think, what we believe, that's hot right now in business, both for small business and big business. And so we think about our beliefs, and especially for entrepreneurs, there are a lot of our beliefs about money and lifestyle, but a lot of people do not think about their mindset around their health and well-being. And I cringe when I that's that mental arena piece. And so they will beat up on themselves, or they say, I should do blah, blah, blah. Or they have all this mindset around, giving power to food, like good food, bad food, or, and there's a lot of limiting thoughts and beliefs, or sabotaging thoughts and beliefs that affect your health and well-being. And this is not, right. That sounds woo-woo. It's not woo-woo, it's science. We know, and there's a lot of research that shows your mind affects your body as well as your body affects your mind. Right. So your thoughts and your feelings affect your physicality, as well as the choices that you make. Because remember, all the arenas, your beliefs and your mindset affect your habits too, the choices that you make, which end up affecting your overall health and well-being. It's all related. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to your mindset. Again, mindset isn't just for business, it's for your health too. Right. Next is, just like in business, we know the importance of building a good team. So even if you're new with your business, most of us have a goal, right? And one day we have a team, so we're not doing it all. It's the same with your well-being. And again, for anyone who came on later, When we talk about health, health is not just about your body. Health is about all aspects of your life. So I use health and well-being interchangeably. I know most people do not, but truly the word health does really mean well-being. So we talk about health and we mean well-being. So it's being your best in mind, body, spirit, and in your life. So you want to have a good health team, so some people don't even have a primary care doctor. They figure, oh, they don't need it, I'm healthy. Well, it's just like in your business. If something goes wrong, you don't want to spend all that time trying to track down the right contractor or vendor. So if you could do that to help manage your website, because when it crashed, you don't want to be like, oh my God, I'm doing a launch, it just crashed, and you're trying to find a tech team. Why wouldn't you do the same for your health, right? So not only do you want to have a primary care doctor, but again, have a whole team. You might not use them all, just like for your business. You don't use your copywriter every day, but you know who your copywriter is. You don't use your graphic designer every day, but you know who your graphic designer is. So you might not need a therapist all the time, but sometimes you might. So you you have a therapist or a yoga instructor or a naturopathic doctor or a chiropractor. And I go into a lot of details in my book, Wellness Your Way, to give you some ideas about who might be on your wellness team. But you do want to have a good health team to help and support you. But at a minimum, I would say make sure you have a good primary care doctor so you can call on her when you need that. So have a good team. So that's 3 tips. I know I'm going kind of fast, but I want to make sure we get them all in. So first,
great.
Know your why. 2, pay attention to your mindset about your health. 3, have a good team. And then 4th, you want to help your health team help you. Say that 3 times fast, right? And what I mean is, just like when we bring on a good consultant, we want to give them good information, right? So that we're not spending all our time and they're trying to guess. Well, I think I kind of understand what you want for your logo. And then you're trying to get 500 revisions, right? It's the same with your health and well-being. Sometimes people don't know, and they don't. So you don't need to be an expert, but if you some challenges that you have, when you go to your team, say your primary care doctor, you want to give them your family history, or you want to give them any past medical history that you may have had. So that's one way of helping them help you. And again, when you go to the health guide, I actually have a section that you can write down what your health goals are and what your questions are, because that's a great way of helping your doctor help you. You go in with some clarity so they're not kind of guessing what you need, or they don't get sidetracked, because this happens a lot. You haven't been to the doctor forever, and they go in and they see some more immediate pressing needs, which is important. But you say, well, but I wanted to talk about stress management. And they're like, yeah, but you're severely anemic. So if you have a clear list of goals, then you can at least let them know, okay, well, I want to talk about this. They can help you prioritize, tell you to come back, that you help them help you function at your best. Again, we do it for got to do it for our health and our well-being. So for you were talking about figuring out ways to be able to eat healthier and get some physical fitness in. You are not alone. So if you make an appointment, that's another big one. Make an appointment for what you want. That's another way of helping your doctor help you. So some people go in and they say, I just need a checkup. When what they really want is to go in and talk about an issue. So when your doctor says, oh, they're coming in for a checkup, they allocate that time for a very specific way. So if you go in and say, hey, I'm busy, I've got young children, I'm having trouble creating a healthy, eating well and exercising, and your doctor's especially if it's a primary care doctor, they say, okay, they might refer you to a nutritionist, or they might have a health coach on staff, or they may do the health coaching. That's your immunizations are up to date, and they check your numbers. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I love it.
That's how you help your doctor help you. You don't have to have the answer, but you do at least know what you want to work on. And they might say, you know what, I get that you're really concerned about your weight, but based on your numbers here, that's not a problem. I'm more concerned because you're still smoking 2 packs a day.
Right.
Right? So they may help you that way. The next habit is Making sure that you assess your own health, assess what's working and what isn't working. Again, we have that habit with our business, especially if we have a successful business. We look what's working, we look what isn't working. But with our health, sometimes we don't do that. And we definitely don't assess all the arenas if we did. If anything, we might obsess about our weight, raise your hand if at some point you've obsessed about your weight, right? Or a little extra someplace, right? Yes. All right. So if anything, but again, we know now that our health is more than our weight, our health is more than our body. So we want to assess all those arenas. We want to assess how we're doing physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, and spiritually. And that is if that's just one habit, get into that, because then you can say, you know what, right now physically I'm doing well, but my habits are really off. I'm not sleeping well. I've been multitasking a lot, whatever it is. So you really need to so what you may need to work on now is getting some healthier habits as far as sleeping or making time for you. That's another one that people don't think of as a health habit. But if you're going all the time, self-care is health-care. So that's an example of, assessing it. And sometimes we think, oh, we're really good. I'm really good about that. And you don't pay attention to when you're slipping out of those healthy habits. So the only way to do that is to have the habit of assessing your health globally, holistically. So that's something, and you know how often you might do that. Some people do it once a month. Some people do it once a year. Some people, every 6 months. Depends on how self-aware you are, how often you formally need to do it. The next tip, have a practical plan. Again, like we do with our business. So some people may start out and they're like, I'm going to have a 7-figure business. I just started out right now. I have no leads. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no business plan. But by next month, I'm going to be halfway to my 7-figure. Yay for you. And it might, yay, because I'm always for let's keep hope alive. But it probably isn't the most realistic plan. But people do the same thing with their health all the time. They don't exercise. They live off of fast food and coffee, and they're like, okay, so by next month, I am going to be going to the gym all the time. I'm going to be exercising an hour every day, and I'm going to be vegan. Yeah, probably not the most realistic plan. So you need to have a realistic plan. Start small and build on those successes. And that's the last habit. And again, it's a habit. It's always about reassessing. But you want to reassess how you're doing with your plan, the way we do with our business, and then build on those successes. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. So kind of schedule check-ins, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. That's
doing.
A great way of doing it. And again, for business, a lot of us have accountability partners, right? But we don't have accountability partners for our health. And you may or may not need to make it so formal. I mean, your accountability partner might be your best friend, and you get together, and then instead of getting together and beating up on yourself about what you haven't been doing and how messy your house is and you haven't folded your laundry and yada, 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 you can maybe check in, share with each other what you want to do. And then the next time you get together, say, so how's that going? You said you were going to start exercising. Have you been walking? Have you been doing your walking lunches? How's that going? No, okay, that hasn't been working. So let's take a different goal. What can you do? Because walking at lunch isn't working. So can you get up and stretch, walk around your office like once an hour for 2 minutes? Okay, let's do that. Okay, then you go back and talk about whatever. Did you see the Oscars? Or whatever. So that's, and then so does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally does. I actually love where you were going into, and I was going to ask, okay, so these are great. So just to make sure I have them right, make sure you have your big why, make sure you're clear on your mindset. I'm going to actually skip to number 3 being assess what's working and not working, right? So that you can make a plan. And then I would go into build your support team and help them help you by coming in with an agenda. And then 7th would be accountability. So I would just move kind of 5 and 6 up kind of chronologically speaking. But I love that as an actionable plan that I can use if there's an area of my life where I'm not feeling like I'm functioning at top capacity, that it's achievable. I can get through what's not working and really take action. So what are some practical ways? You mentioned getting up and stretching in the middle of the day or going for a walk with your work buddies. But what are some other practical solutions that we could be implementing even today?
So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And like I said, this is where a lot of people get tripped up. So I'm going to give you some ideas, but this is really important for everyone who's listening and listening to the replay. Do not add this to your to-do list. And I can't stress that. Right? So everyone's like, yes, she just wants you to get her guide so I can get into your funnel. Yes, I want you to join my list. But more importantly, one of my personal passions is to make sure people have the tools to do what makes sense for them. So when I give you some tips, please, please, please promise me that you are not going to put this in your file as, well, Dr. Donna said I must start to meditate. That's not what I'm saying. So that's why I'm not being coy, and I will give you some specific examples. But I've learned this in kind of my 3 decades of being in health and seeing how people and patients are. They, especially when it comes from a medical doctor, even though you say it's a suggestion, figure out what works for you, blah, 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 they turn into, well, the doctor said. Okay.
And I do not assume like that's probably on your end too. You don't want to like, well, they said, and so guys, just know this is not a diagnosis. This is not a clinical recommendation based on your personal goals. You are signing a liability waiver here, just so you know.
Thank you for that, but I really am not even coming from that space, but thank you for that, because we do have to remember that this is really about, I give you that I'm so passionate about wellness your way, because one of the things that trips people up is cookie cutter. They want to drive a cookie cutter solution, and then they try these cookie cutter solutions that either don't work or they don't work for you. It's because you don't stick with them. So that's why. So some practical tips and some practical habits that we know no matter what will help most people decrease illness, increase their lifespan. One, I make no assumptions these days. Please be tobacco free. That is a huge, huge one. Believe it or not, some people still smoke or they use tobacco in other forms. So that's like, let's just put that out there. There's also a growing body of literature around e-cigarettes. So that's a whole nother talk. So I would say, let's start with some basic healthy habits. And that's one, stop doing that. Okay, another one is around eating, because so many people want to know how to eat healthy. And that's really one where you really need to assess what your needs are, and you need to assess your physical needs. And that's one good one to talk to your doctor, whether so I really discourage people to stay out of the what's better. Should I be paleo? Should I be vegan? Should I be that? That's too much for something like this. And it really depends on your lifestyle. But what I will say this is you do eating a healthy, balanced. So that means making sure you get enough nutrients. And you know what that is. If you're just living off of burgers and steak, and you never eat a vegetable, that's not balanced. If you're vegetarian and you are, many vegetarians, they think it's just not meat. And so they're not paying attention to making sure they get enough essential amino acids, and they're not getting enough nutrients. And so you need to make sure that you get enough nutritional food to fuel your body and your mind. Does that make sense? It does.
I was just going to say, for my kids, we keep it very basic, like eat the rainbow. So eat colorful food and make sure you at least finish the protein that I gave you. These are the only two things that I really require in our house.
That's a great way. I love to eat the rainbow. My plate, if you go to my plate, because a lot of us grew up on the food pyramid and they changed the food pyramid times. So now the newest, it's not new anymore, but if you're not plugged into that world, the new food pyramid is now my plate. So that gives you a visual. So you make sure you have a protein source. You make sure you have some whole grains. You make sure you have some vegetables. They keep playing with it. So some of them have dairy to drink, some non-dairy. So that's a nice way to conceptualize of how you're eating. And then we know also to make sure we eat regularly. And by regularly, that means don't just eat breakfast and then think about it again at bedtime. We need, again, you make sure your cell phone battery is charged throughout the day. You need to make sure your body and your mind have fuel too. So that's typically, thanks for putting it up, Caitlin. So that makes breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some healthy snacks are typically one of the best habits to get into. If you are on the go all the time, something very practical as far as eating well and making sure you have enough fuel is keep healthy snacks with you, especially if you have diet. If you're gluten-free or you have a nut allergy or you've got a soy sensitivity, set yourself up for success. Carry it with you. Shop for it at home. Keep it in your tote bag or keep some in your car or do both so that you always have something with you. It doesn't mean you always have to eat or you always have to pack a big lunch, but if you get stuck someplace where you have a lunch and you're vegetarian and they have you meeting at a steakhouse, so you don't really eat that much or you don't like to eat while you meet. I'm like that. I don't like to eat a lot while I'm taking care of business. I like to keep the experience of mealtime peaceful and calm. So I don't eat a lot for business lunches. So I keep something with me so that I can eat afterwards. Yeah. So that's definitely a practical habit. And another practical habit for moving and exercise is look for opportunities to move. And remember, to pause for wellness. Some people are very all or none, and they think that if they can't get a full workout in, do nothing. And research shows that small bursts of activity actually have a lot of benefit. Sometimes, I don't want to say more, but equal benefit. So you have to kind of shift your thinking and look for opportunities. And if you're waiting in line or you're waiting for a meeting, you can pace. I mean, you want to be careful so you don't look like you're overly anxious, but you can look, or while you're waiting to pick up your kids from while they finish their practice of some sort. Instead of checking your email, get up and stretch or walk to the corner and back or
or take the stairs instead of the escalator. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my favorites. So you have to look for opportunities, and that requires you paying attention and being more mindful.
Right, absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Donna. I'm going to drop your health guide into our chat. It's manifestexcellence.com/health guide, one word. And I'm going to go there now so you can go see it. I also went to choosemyplate.gov for those of you who are curious to see how the pyramid has changed since we were kids. But manifestexcellence.com and the health guide. And we go ahead and register, sign up, and start putting these practices into place because I was just going to say, at the end of the day, you are serving the world in a big way. If you're following me, you know that's a really big theme of mine, that what we're doing is a calling. I believe it's a divine calling. And so you are serving the world better when you take care of yourself first. And that really health means you start by filling your own cup, and I love how that's how you began, Dr. Donna, that you have to fill your own cup so that there's enough to give to the people in your life, your loved ones, and the ones who need you to show up at your best every single day. So thank you so much for joining us today, Dr. Donna. Any last words or maybe a favorite quote that you love to share?
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's so many. Okay, I will say this. Again, you can't give from an empty cup. So that is one of my favorite quotes. But I will also just reiterate what you said. So when you go and you get the health guide, look at that as your next step. So the 7 habits I gave today, and I love what you did. You turned them into a plan. I didn't even put them in any particular order, but I love Caitlin. She was like, no, here it is, and here's your action plan. I love that. So that gives you a framework. So the next step, when you get this health guide, you'll see that these are like the 7 key habits. If you still feel like overwhelmed and you don't know where to start, this is not a to-do. Look at them and pick 1 or 2 that resonate well with you. But these are the key habits that if you listen to all the research and you put it together, this is what's going to help you live longer and also live healthier. So pick 1 or 2 that resonate with you and then use the guide to piece it together and so you can work with your health team to help you. So look at this. And then if you do these 2 things today, you have done not 1, but 2 things to improve your health and well-being. So celebrate that.
Celebrate. I'm not always so great at celebrating, but I love that. Pause and celebrate your success. So thank you so much, Dr. Donna. I really appreciate your wisdom and your enthusiasm.
Thank you so much. Thank you for, I love being on. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you, Kim, Scott, and Elena for joining us. And thank you for everyone who's watching the replay.
All right. Bye, everybody.